So I couldn't share the version of my STATA version because of the size, but I'm going to do that later in the day. Hopefully, I'll be able to upload that, then I can share with all. So this is STATA environment the moment you open it for the first time. And like I said, when you install this into your machine, it's either you go through the program menu and get that open, or you double click on the icon wherever you have it saved. So when you double click, this is the environment and this is the welcome page. So this, of course, is like we're familiar with, this is the menu bar, all right? So when you click each of the menu, you can see the drop-down menu. This is file, edit, data. This is graphics, where you can do your visuals and what have you. And this is statistics, where the analysis is conducted, and then what have you. Then this is what we call the standard tools bar, all right, where we have open, save, print results, and all of that. And remember, in our class yesterday, I mentioned to us that there's something we call the preview window. So this is the preview window. This takes record of your old command, all right, and also for reuse. Then this is the result window, all right. This is where the result is being displayed when it executes a command. And this is where we call the command window, all right? This is where you can type in your command straight in here to execute, a program. Then this is what we call the variable view, or the variable window. This is the variable window, and this is the property window, all right? So each of the variables you have here is linked to the properties in this place. All right. So the next thing we're going to do, I think this is clear. Remember, this is the menu bar, the STATA and the standard tools bar, or the formatting bar. We have what we call the review window. All right. This keeps track of your commands. This is the result window. This is the command window. This is the variable view. And this, of course, is a property view. So the next thing we're going to do is that we're going to import data into into STATA. And the first thing we're going to do is you have your data saved. So now I have my data saved already in Excel. And the first method of importing data into STATA is by going through the file menu. So when you click on file, then your file, there's a drop-down menu, then you go to import. So when you're importing, there are different files that can be imported into STATA. So we have the Excel spreadsheet, we have the text data delimited, we have the text data in fixed format, and all these are formats that you can import data into STATA. So what I'm importing into STATA is actually an Excel spreadsheet. So I'm going to select Excel spreadsheet. When that is done, you are going to have a dialog box that is called the import Excel. All right. Then the next thing to do is to browse the location of the file. And that is what I'm going to do now. So I'm going to click on browse. Then I'm going to locate where my file is saved. So this is my file, sample data set 1. So I'm going to select this, then I'm going to click on open. So when you click on open, if you're working with a spreadsheet, it is important that you check that your import first row as variable name. Then you're going to check this. So you see now that the variable's name has moved up as the variable. So if you uncheck this, then the alphabet is going to serve as the variable name. But we want ID, height, weight, and age to be our variable name. Then we're going to check this. Import first row as variable name. Then we're going to click on OK. Now that is done. Now you can now see that from the review window, we can now see the command that was used to import the data. Then you can see the results in the result window. Then again, you can see all of our variable lists in the variable window. So if you want to check the properties of each of these variables, then you just select it. So when you select, you can see the properties. When you select height, for example, you can see the properties in the property window. All right. So this is one step in bringing in data. And when this is done, you can also view your data set by clicking data editor browse. So there are two data editor browse. We have the data editor edits, and this is the second method of importing data or bringing data into STATA. Why data editor browse is, of course, to view your data set. So now that we've imported this data set, what we're going to do is for us to browse and view our data set. So I'm going to click this. So we can now see, I'm sure, please, can you confirm if you can see my screen that is showing the data editor browse? Can you confirm, please? You can confirm
yes,
through
sir.
your...
Yes, sir.
Okay, excellent. So we can see the data that was imported. You can see the variable name, ID, height, weight, age, 8 categories, and what have you. Then we can also see the variable property. Then I get this closed. All right. So I'm gonna type in clear. We're gonna get to that. Clear is going to clear the data that have been imported. So I'm typing clear in the command window. All right, clear, all in lowercase. Then I press an enter. Then it has cleared. Then, for example, like I said, the review window, all of this command can also be reused. So if I want to reuse this command, I'll just double click on this. Can you see? It has brought back the data. So other than having to type this all over again, then if I need to clear this, then I'm going to click on clear again in the command in the review window. Then that is done. I've cleared it. So the second way of importing data into STATA or manually entering data into STATA is by clicking on data edit. Data edit. Then we're going to click on data edit. So when that is done, it is important that you have, so you can actually enter directly into this. All right, you can enter directly into this. You can see that. You can enter directly into this. But however, if you have your data open already in in Excel or whatever format, just copy it. All right. So this is just a copy and paste process. All right. So I'm copying the data now from Excel that I've already opened. Then I'm going to come here. I'll right click. Then I click on paste. So when I click on paste, it's going to ask me that do you want to treat the first variable as variable names or data, then variable names. All right. Then we have that. All right. We can see now that the data, we've copied it and paste using the data editor edit. Again, I'm going to close this and that is done. So which means that we've imported 19 variables and 499 observation was pasted into the data editor. Remember what I said again, that there are two ways by importing data into STATA. Is number one is by going to the file, from file to import. Then you can now select your the type of file that you want to import into STATA. That is one way. And I said the second way is by going through the editor and data editor edit. All right. Here you can enter the data directly, or you can also copy and paste from probably Excel and paste it directly into your data editor edit dialog box. Let me know if this is clear, then we can. Any questions before I proceed? All right. So like I said in our first class, one of the things we need to do when we are before analyzing our data. Now, if you come to the command line and you type in summarize or sum, I guess, sum, S-U-M-M, and you press enter, it's going to give you is going to give you the summary of your data set. You can see the variables, you can see the numbers of observation, you can see the mean, you can see the data standard deviation, and the mean and the max. Now, if you also use summarize, now the summarize now is ZE, all right? You press enter, it's going to give you the same thing. Please note it. The first one is sum, S-U-M-M, while the other one is summarize. I think this summarize is the American way, or this is ZE. Now, if you don't want to go through this route, if you come to statistics in the menu bar, you click on statistics. From statistics, you go to summarize, table, and test. Then you come to summarize and descriptive statistics. Then you click on summarize statistics. When that is done, you get a dialog box, all right? Since our interest lies in getting the summaries of all the variables, so it's saying leave empty for all variables. So we're going to leave it empty. Excuse me. And we're going to click on OK. Then we're going to get the same result. You can see we're going to get the same result. So the next thing we're going to do is that we need to check the code book. All right. So in doing that, sorry, excuse me. All right. Sorry about that. I need to take a glass of water. So the next thing we can also do again is the scribe. All right. In doing that, you can type describe directly in the command, then click on enter. Okay. So this is describe. So describe now, for example, shows us the total numbers of observation, the variables. We have 19 variables. Then it also shows us the size. Then for each of all of these variables, then it also shows us the storage type. If it's integers, if it's string, and what have you, then also shows us what we call the variable name. So this is describing each of the variables that we have in there. So I want you to note, I want you to note that. Now, the next thing we also need to check, we can also be interested in understanding the code in terms of the code book. Then in understanding the code book, we're going to come to data, all right? Under data, then we come to describe data, all right? Then we come to describe data content in terms of the code book. Then we click on this, all right? Then we're going to leave this empty because we're interested in all of the variables, okay? And we click OK. What is the importance of this? For example, this is the code book. Now, ID is a numeric value. This is the range. This is the mean. This is the standard deviation. And this is the percentile, all right? Then again, this is height in centimeter. Then you can see the code book, for example, is a numeric, is integer. This is the mean of the height. This is standard deviation. Then we can see a percentile, all right? Then it's also telling us that weight is unlabeled, all right? Then we can also see it here from the variable window, all right? This is the variable window. We can see that weight is not labeled. This is labeled, weight is not labeled. But for in the case of height in centimeter, it is labeled height in centimeter, like what we can see here. So again, we can see the code book for each of all of the variables that we have in here. All right. Please note that if you don't want to go through the menu, remember I said to us that there are three ways of interacting with STATA. Number one is by using the menus and the dialog box. That's number one. That is going through the menu here, just like what we did, and going to statistics, to summary, or going to data to describe data and your data code book. That is one way. The other way of also interacting with STATA is by going through the menu. It's by going through the command. All right. So other than going through data, you can actually type in code book in your menu bar. In your command line. Then it's also going to give you the result. So if you don't want to go through typing code book in your command window, then you can also go through what we call the menu and also the dialog boxes. The third way we can interact with STATA is by going through what we call the do files. All right, do files. So we're also going to get to know that. Now, those are the three ways. Then we're still going to get into that. So the next thing we can also do, like I said, is that we can actually play around to also understand our table. Then the next thing we want to do is to tab some of these values for us to know the structures of it. Now, tab means tabulate, all right? So, and you can only tabulate categorical data, all right, not continuous. Now, if you come through the command line, if you type in tab, T-A-B, you can now choose any of your data. For example, I'm going to click on age cards. All right, so when you double click this, then the age card is going to come to the command window, then press enter, then you're going to have this. Again, if you don't want to use T-A-B, you can also use T-A, just T-A only space. Then you bring in, you double click age cards, then you click on enter. Now, what I've just done is interacting with STATA using the command line or the command. Now, the same way, I can also go through the menu and dialog box. Then I come to statistics. Then I come to summarize tables and tests. I come to frequency table. Then I click on, then I click on one table. No, sorry. This summarize table. Okay. I think it should be this. Then I click on, for example, I select whatever I say, age cards. I believe this is the right one to use, but most times, like I said, I use more of a command line when I need to do what I need to do. Then I click on OK. So this is just giving us the mean anyway, tab start. But these are the way by which we can actually interact with STATA. Now, let's say, for example, now that we want to use the do file. Now, if you select all of these, probably at this point, you select all. You select all. Then you can right click and send selected to a do file editor. Then I click on this. So this is the code book. Now, if I save this do file editor, the next time that I need to work on this file, then I can easily highlight all, then come to this icon to execute the command line. All right. So what we've done now is how to import data into Excel, how to describe our data set, how to summarize our data set, how to describe our data set, how to check the code book, and also how to also tab our data set. Now I'm going to stop again to ask if there's any question before I proceed. Okay, Downsy, can you go ahead with your question?
Okay,
Or mute yourself.
Okay. I've been trying to import the file, but it's not been working. It's showing command view helper is unrecognized.
Okay, excellent. So for those that are just joining us for the first time, so what we do oftentimes is that when we are making presentation, when we're having a section and somebody has an issue, we'll make the person to share his or her screen, then everybody learn through that process. So that is the learning. That's the learning procedure. So down, see, is it possible I stop sharing? Then you can share your screen so that we can see what the issue is. Then I can quickly take you through, and other people can also learn from it. Is that possible? Down, see, are you there? Can you talk to me?
Okay, yes, I am. Actually,
Oh,
I formatted my computer so it doesn't have Zoom on it. So I've been using my phone.
oh, I see. So there's no way we can attend to that. So probably if you can bring that up tomorrow, that would be great. I mean the next section, that would be great so that we can attend to that. Does that sound good? Does that sound good?
Yeah, that's good. That's yes.
Okay, excellent. So any other questions, clarifications? Okay, so the next thing we are going to do is that you will notice that we have, and there's some data set that used to come as continuous, and we might want to categorize it. Now, let's say, for example, age, this age here is continuous variable, so we can check it, tab, age. This is continuous variable, all right? And the other age here is the categorized age. Now let's take, for example, that we want to categorize this into a categorical variable, all right? And like I said, there are two ways that this can be done. So let's follow the first step, going through the menu and the dialog box. So if you have to do that, we come to data in data, in menu bar. So click on data. From data, we come to data utility. From data utilities, we come to label utilities. Then we come to manage value labels. All right. We click on this. Then we now create one after the other. So what we're going to do is that we create label. So this label, we're going to call it age car. Because okay, age
Age group.
cats. Okay, age group. Thank you, because we already have one already. Age group. So we can say one is 14 to 19. Enter. Two. We say this is 20 to 24. Enter. Three. This is 25 to 29. Then 30 to 30. Sorry, 4. That is 30 to 34. Enter. 5. That is 35 to 39. Enter. 6. Then that is 40 to 44. Enter. 7. And that is 45 to 49. All right, enter. So when that is done, we click on OK. All right. Now let me also say this, in case that there's any point that you have an error, you can actually click and edit the value or drop the value as the case might be. Now, when that is done, you can see the command line. The next thing we'll do is that we'll also come to data again. Then we come to same data utility, to label utilities, then to assign values to variables. All right, assign values to variable. Then we select this. So when we select this, we're going to select the variables that we want to assign, and that is our age. All right, we click on age here. Then we are assigning our age to age group. Then we click on submit. Then we click on OK. Then we have it. Then we can now tab our age group, which is okay. So tab age now. So this should be not yet. Sorry. Value. Sorry, let me check that. Sorry, age group is this and this, yeah. Then age group equals to this. Okay, and I think, excuse me, let me check the command. So let me check something very quickly. Shortly. All right, so there should be something I must have missed. So I think the route that we might need to go is by going through the normal command line, because like I said, I use more of a command line than the menu bar. I mean, than the menu. Through the command line. So we're going to do record. Please note this, record age. So that's what we are recording. Record age. So we are doing 10 to 14. So 10 to 14 equals 1. Then 15 to 19 equals 2. I'm sure you can see that 20 to 24 equals 3. Then 25 to 29 equals 4. 30 to 34 equals, sorry, 5. 35 to 39 equals 6. Then 40 to 45 equals 7. Then 46 to 49 equals 8. Okay, 10 to 14, 15 to 19, 20 to 24, 25 to 29, 30 to 34 equals this. Then we'll now put a comma, then generate age group. Please, is this clear? Then we can now say enter. All right. So this is a code line. All right. So we are recording the age that is continuous. So we say record age to this category. 10 to 14 is 1, 15 to 19 is 2, 20 to 24 is 3, 25 to 29 is 4, 30 to 34 is 5, and so on. So we can see 999 differences between age and age group based on the recording that we've done. Now, the next thing we are going to do is for us to label the age group that we've just created. All right. So we now say label define. All right. Label define age group. All right. 1. We put double hyphen 15 to 10 to 14. Then 2, 15 to 19, 3, 20 to 24, 4, 25 to 29, 5, 30 to 34, 6, 35 to 39, 7, 40 to 45, then 8 is 45 to, so there's an error that I've noticed. So this 45 should be 44, okay? But just note that and let us just move on to 49. All right, so that is that. So when that is done, we click enter, all right, with label. So the next thing we now do is that we now define the values. So label values, this is the command line, label values. So the new variables we created, that is age underscore group, all right, space, and with the label defined, and that is the age group, all right. Then we type in enter. So we can now tab our age underscore group. Can we see that? So this is a code for age that we've just done with this code line. Hello, does that any question at any point of record? So this is using the command line. So the moment you are familiar with using command, most times going through the menus might become difficult, all right? So when you are more familiar with the command line, so please, do we have any questions or clarification? I know that this is going to be, I don't want to go deep into this, but it's just gradual. So if you master the code line, now if I need to do something like this, I can save this code line in my do file, so that in the future, when I need to do something similar, I will just re-edit it so that I don't need to start all over again. Any question? Now, another one, if you tap gender, for example, gender is 1 and 2. So gender is 1 and 2. So how do we recode gender to be male and female? How do we recode gender to be male and female? So if we want to do that, we're also going to go through the same route, for example. So how do we recode gender as female? So if we need to do that, I don't know if you're following. So we say label define for this. Then label define. Then I pick my variable gender. All right. So I say 1, is male, all right? Then 2 is female, all right? Then I enter. Then the next thing I will do is that label gender, then enter. Sorry.
It's like the
Sorry. So now if we tap gender, so we can see gender is male and female, all right? So the same thing we can do for education. So if we tap education, you will discover that this is 1, 2, 3. So we can do the same, label, define, then I pick the variable. So oftentimes when you're working, it's important you pick your variable from here because it's case sensitive. So so we have the variable name as lowercase e. So if you type in a capital letter, then it's not going to pick that. Then 1 is primary, 2 secondary, 3 tertiary, enter, then label values. So when you tap this again, then we have this. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so it's label values. So we have to include, and thanks. Yeah. So please, one thing when you're working with STATA that you need to understand is that at times you might get errors when you are working with your command line, but of course never to worry. So when you send it and you see that there's a red color on your command line, then it means there's an issue. So the issue could just be a one letter, it could be a capital case you've used instead of a lower case. Then you just need to check and actually walk through again. So I'm going to stop here now so that if somebody in the class can share their screen and quickly take us through what we've learned, so that because we have been doing a lot of coding and coding so that we don't lose someone I mean in the class. So can we have somebody volunteer to quickly take us through what we've learned? One thing I've discovered with learning is that if you are able to also take someone through, then the understanding, the learnings stays much better than when we just learn it, then we'll go and do things on our own. So I don't know if somebody can actually volunteer to take us through what we've done. Just that, then I can share the data set that I'm working with on the group now, on the WhatsApp group. Then someone can take us through. Is anybody volunteering?
I already dropped them.
Dr. Bing, I can't hear you.
I already dropped the data so people can go to the group.
Okay, I've just dropped another one. Okay, excellent. Okay, I saw it. Yes. So I've just dropped another one. Yeah, excellent. So can somebody volunteer to take us through? Then I'm going to stop sharing. All you need to do is to share your screen. Then you take us through, or you do a kind of recap to what we've done so far. Because this is like building a foundation to what we get to do in our subsequent classes. Because in our subsequent classes now, we'll start doing analysis, descriptive inferential analysis directly. But of course, it's important to note that At times when we are collecting our data, maybe probably we are using electronic mobile device, ComCare, Kobo Collect, and what have you. Our data can come without labels, all right? There could be 1, 2, 3, 4. The age could be continuous, and you want to recategorize your age, then you have to go through all of this process, all right? So can someone take us through? Someone? It's as if John is no longer in the class. So we're only having 3 people in the class today.
Maybe network. Maybe network. We have
Mr. Abraham. And I know that Dr. Mukas also joined us late.
Yeah, he joined late, so he
then,
might not even. Yeah.
Yes. And Down C2 is also, she also joined with phone.
Yeah.
And
John
okay, I think John is back.
Yeah.
So I really need somebody to take us through. So John, we are asking if somebody can take us through what we've done so far. Because one thing about packages that has to do with coding is that we can easily forget. And one thing we're also going to do is that there is a presentation I'm going to share that has all of these codings, and that's actually going to guide us. Maybe let me, yeah, so I'm going to share that. That's going to be where we're going to be starting from tomorrow. And I'm not going to do that. We still have a lot to do, replacing values, generating values, and all of that. But we have to be going gradually, otherwise, and some of us can get lost on the way with all of these codings. So John, I don't know if you can take us through what we've done so far, like a recap, so that others can also learn in another way, or someone else, please. Can somebody talk to me? John, are you there?
I'm following you. I don't know if others are following you, but I want to believe that they're all following you.
Yeah, because if I proceed,
yes,
yeah, because I just want somebody to be able to do what we've done. Because if I mean, you can easily take on the way. Why doing all of this? Okay. Let me stop sharing so that we can proceed in the next, okay. Okay. So we've actually explained, okay, we've not gotten to this level. So the other thing also that we might also need to talk about is around data visualization. Who is there? I'm using my phone, so I won't be, oh. Yeah, so another thing again that we also can talk about is data visualization, when we have to do stuff like histogram, graph box, and scatter, and also graph bar. All right. So data visualization, of course, is graphs help us to gain information about the distribution of our variables and the relationship among variables for a quickly available quickly through visual presentation. Now, this is an example of visualization, this is histogram. All right. So let's say, for example, you can actually type histogram, then the variable. Sorry about that connection. So like I said, so I can easily type in histogram, then the variable comes in, then I enter it. Then when you see something here, it means it is running. All right, we can see it at this point. Now, this is the histogram for height. Can we see the graph? Can we see the graph? Hello?
Yes, sir, we can see.
Okay, good. So that's for histogram. Then the same thing, we can do histogram with option. So anytime we want to give an option in STATA command, we're going to use the comma sign in this manner. And also note that it's either you write histogram full as a command, or you write HIST, then you now bring in the variable that you want to visualize. Then this also box plots, all right? So this is the command line, box, then space, graph, space and box, then you bring in the variables also. Then this is a scatter plot. So the command for scatter plot is scatter, then you bring in right, this is read. So we can see and write and scroll and reading at the Y and also at the X axis respectively. Then it's also graph bar, and this is the command line for it as well. So I'm going to share all of this, like I said. Then this is also a two-way bar graph, and we can see the command line at those points. All right. Same. So in terms of data management, one of the things we can look at is generate. All right, generate is used to create new variables. Then we can also replace. We can replace values of a variable. Then we can also, the one we call egen, to extend variables generation. Then we have a code that we call rename. Then we can rename variables. If it's in sex, we can rename it to gender. Then there's one we call recode. I'm sure we've used recode today to record variables value. Then there's what we call the label variables. It gives variable description. We have the label define. It generates values for a label set. We have the label values. It applies value labels to variables. So we've used some of these. So we also have what we call the encode. The encode code, it converts string variables to numeric. I'm sure we understand what is string variable. So we command, so encode, convert a string variables to numeric. All right. So this is an example of generating variables, for example. So this is tabbing summarize. Remember we did this. So it summarizes these four variables: total, mass, science, and also the last variables then, and that is social studies. That is then the same way, the summary total only the same way. Then this is the so when you want to generate, you generate academic equals 0, then we can replace and do all of this commands. So these are what we are also going to do in detail. So after this class, I'm also going to share this slide so that by tomorrow we'll go into full work. But as much as possible, it's good that at each point, I'm able to check our knowledge level. So this is how to extend generations of variables as well. And this is also the code line in getting that done. This is in renaming variables. So renaming variable, for example, we can see the syntax: rename old, that is the old variable name, then rename into a new variable name. So we can see rename gender, female, record values to 0 to 1. Then we can see the command line. Then after that, we tab, we can now see that we have female as 0 and 1. All right. So depending on how we want to get that done. Then this is labeling values. We've also done that today when we're recording a continuous age into a categorical age. All right. So these are examples. Labeling values. We've also done that today. All right. Initially with tab, we have it as 1 and 2. It was now labeled as public and private. Remember, we have gender 1 and 2 in our example. Then we relabeled it as male and female. So we can also list the variables depending on how we want it. This is encoding, converting a string variables to numeric variables. So I'm not going to come here today. Then I'm going to stop at those points. But again, I'm still interested in having someone to be able to take us through what we've learned today, to check knowledge level before we proceed. Mr. John, is this something you want to do for us? Or we have it as a home task so that by the time we start work in the next contact, then one or two people is going to start with a recap by taking us through what we've learned today. Because one thing about working with a code line is that at some point we can easily forget. And that is why working with a do file is actually the way to go. Mr. John? So Dr. Minga, what do you think?
If we don't have anybody to share their screen today, I think it would be great for us to go and watch the videos. And then since they have the data set, they should try and replicate what they've learned today so that probably maybe next class, we would need people to show, their screens and show us the analysis of what they've done so far. Or we might request them to actually submit their do file so that we can run it and see what they've done. So there are two things. So they could submit the do file so that someone can copy it and then run it and see what they've done. Or we ask them to go and do that homework. And first part of next class, people share their screen to show us what they've done so far. Because it's actually good that we ensure that they are retaining the knowledge. Thank you, sir. That would be my submission.
Exactly. Exactly. So we've not really gone through and do file, but what I would suggest is that we should look through the videos and also the PowerPoint slide that I'll be sharing after now. So Dr. Wenga, I'm going to be sharing this with you immediately after now. So when you do that, they can study that so that one or two persons, when we start